There is an unwritten football rule that says if you're scouting players at a World Cup then you've arrived at the party far too late, but that's not to say you can't pick up a bargain. Tottenham Hotspur are a club that have to be clever in their transfer dealings as they can't compete with their big rivals when it comes to wages or enormous fees. Many of Spurs' transfer targets this summer are unlikely to be at the World Cup, but if they do look to buy anyone who is performing in the tournament then they are likely to be players who might not light up the matches in Russia but will fit a specification that Mauricio Pochettino requires for a certain role in his squad. Anyone who suddenly becomes a superstar at a World Cup, like James Rodriguez for Colombia in Brazil in 2014, suddenly becomes worth mega money, and Tottenham are not a club who get involved in player auctions. Perhaps, it is more likely that Spurs make final decisions on players they have already scouted over the years but just want one last look on a bigger stage. These are the 5 realistic players that we reckon Tottenham should be looking at in Russia. Mateo Kovacic, photo by Dennis Doyle, Getty Images. Mateo Kovacic. Every transfer window Spurs are linked with the Croatian. Last summer they were heavily linked with the Real Madrid midfielder, but Football London understands he was never a target for the club and no moves were ever made. On paper, the 24-year-old Kovacic makes sense though as a Spurs signing. They certainly monitored him back in his Zagreb days as a potential Luka Modric successor, but in the end it was Real who brought the two Croatians together. Spurs could reignite their interest in Kovacic one day, and with just 10 La Liga starts last season he could be looking to move on, although on the evidence of previous windows this doesn't seem to be a deal that Tottenham are quite as excited about as the fans are. With Moussa Dembele's possible departure this summer, Kovacic can slot into that deeper midfield role in the Belgian's absence. Zidane's exit and Julen Lopetegui's arrival at the Bernabeu, Kovacic's future at Real could be re-evaluated, or he could be sold to raise funds for the new manager to shape the team how he wants. Real are certainly likely to be knocking for Pochettino again in the future, and selling Spurs someone like Kovacic might help the relationship between the two clubs in the future. Kasper Dolberg. The 20-year-old Ajax striker has had a tough season, and that might be why it's exactly the right time to move for the young Dane. Spurs have monitored Dolberg's situation in recent years, but his biggest suitors in the past have been clubs such as Manchester United and Real Madrid, particularly after he scored 23 goals and laid on 8 assists in 48 games as a teenager in the 2016-17 season, helping Ajax to the Europa League final. This season Dolberg has struggled to recapture that form, being named as a substitute more times in the Eredivisie than he started games, and he managed just 6 goals in the league, with 3 more coming in the Dutch Cup. His star may have fallen, but if Spurs scouts spot enough about his play in Russia that marks him out a potential Premier League player, then they could move to make him the latest in the list of players to try to provide backup to Harry Kane. Pochettino will enjoy helping yet another young player develop. Spurs certainly have a long history of signing Ajax players and making a success of them, and one of them, Christian Eriksen, could certainly put in a good word to his Danish teammate. Ivan Perisic. Image, Emilio Andrioli, Getty Images. Ivan Perisic, another Croatian worth keeping tabs on. Spurs have looked at him in recent seasons, but Manchester United have always been considered the front-runners if the 29-year-old ever left Inter Milan. However, Spurs may have some leverage this summer if the Italian side are desperate to beat other Serie A clubs to the signing of Moussa Dembele, if Pochettino decides to let the Belgian go. Perisic is versatile, a trait the Spurs boss wants in his players. Although he played most on the left for Inter last season, also played up front, deeper in midfield and just off the striker, racking up 11 goals and 9 assists in Serie A. If Tottenham do let Dembele go, then the Croatian could bring experience to the team, albeit in a different position. Dries Mertens. Tottenham have looked at the Belgian striker in recent seasons as a potential addition to their strike force. A release clause in Mertens' contract at Napoli, which meant he could leave for £24.5 million to a foreign club, reportedly expired this week, but at 31 years old and with just 2 years left on his deal, the striker is unlikely to cost mega money. He scored 20 goals for Napoli last season across Serie A and the Champions League, laying on 9 assists as well. Napoli have a new manager in Carlo Ancelotti, and it remains to be seen what role Mertens will have in his squad going forward. Spurs might be reticent to splash the cash on another experienced striker after Fernando Llorente's poor season, but Mertens is a different kind of player. Hakim Ziyech image, Dean Mutaropoulos, Getty Images. Hakim Ziyech, the 25-year-old Moroccan, is a creative fulcrum for Ajax, and he provides goals and assists from the center of a midfield three for the Dutch outfit. Last season Ziyech contributed 9 goals and 15 assists in the Eredivisie alone and has drawn admiring glances from the likes of Liverpool in recent months. Ziyech admitted last month that he is looking for a new challenge after 2 years at Ajax and believes he can get even better with a fresh start somewhere. Spurs do have that relationship with Ajax, and the midfielder could certainly be one to watch this month. Keep up to date with the latest news, features and exclusives from Football London via the free Football London app for iPhone and Android. Available to download from the App Store and Google Play.